It's good to see you guys again. How are the kids? How are the I've been really busy. I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and write. I got an internship recently, which is amazing. I love it so much. It's the most fun work internship job I've ever had. It just hasn't given me a lot of time to sit down and write, which is expected when your schedule is changing a ton. I have gotten into the rhythm of writing again, and I found a little routine that works for me finally, which is really great. And I've also just felt more motivated too as well. I'm definitely someone who if I'm not motivated to write, it's very difficult for me to write. It's very difficult for me to write. It's been a good month so far, almost consistently every day so far this month. I've been able to write something or other, which is very exciting. And I just look forward to it. I finally, I'll sit down on my computer. I'm, looking forward to what I have to write today. One of the first things I did this month was I sent the draft that I'm working on to my sister, who's basically my only beta reader at this point. And she was really, really helpful. I was really hesitant to send it to literally anyone in the state that it was in, especially just because it felt like I just wanted to be more presentable. I wanted it to be at least mildly more, I just wanted to be better. I wanted it to be better. But I just realized I was just in such a slump at the time, and I was just it's not going to get better unless I show it to people. I think that's one of the very unfortunate truths that most writers need to come to terms with. Your stuff is not going to get better unless you show it to people and people tell you if it's what they think of it. At first it felt a little bit tedious to go over everything and be I don't know, it just felt tedious. It felt like a lot of little things and not a lot of major plot stuff that I was looking at. But then I realized that I accidentally made the grandfather over 7 feet tall. Today's Friday, and I'm planning to write as much as I can today. I might not exclusively work on the book today, and that is because I had an idea for a short story, which I feel very conflicted about. And the reason I feel conflicted about it is because I think the story idea is very good, but here's the thing. So on one hand, I don't want to be someone who just has a million different unfinished projects, right? I don't want to be someone who just keeps starting stuff and never finishing anything. I like to finish things. I'm sure most people like to finish things. But on the other hand, I think it'll be helpful in the long run. I haven't written in a short story in a very long time. When I was little, I would write short stories all the time. When I was a kid, I just wrote short stories constantly. Sometimes I would write novels as well, but they were 30 pages, and then my short stories would be 5 to 10, but I haven't written a proper short story ever. I've written short films, but I haven't written a short story before. The idea that I had does feel concise enough to where I could pull it off in 5 to 10,000 words, which I think is the appropriate length for a short story. And the reason I really want to start it is because I think I just need more experience writing short form fiction, right? So, because I started this book having not written anything narrative in years, actual years. And so I just jumped into it, and I did outline it. I just didn't outline it for very long. So it does feel like I really jumped into it without practicing writing short fiction. So I think if I just do that and I make it really tight and concise, then I think it would be beneficial for my writing career long term, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna work on the book, I'm gonna work on this short story, and it's gonna be great. What I'm doing right now is I'm basically planning on touching up a really in-depth, just touching up each chapter from the very beginning and really making notes of what each chapter is accomplishing and establishing. I think that's something that's going to be helpful for me moving forward. Good morning again. It's Saturday. I have a busier weekend than I initially anticipated. I'll still have time to write every morning regardless, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to write after all of my activities. Yesterday I thought I would have enough time to come back home and write a little bit, but I had work and then an event back to back. So, but yeah, I kind of like just writing in the mornings. If I had more mornings available, I would probably just do this most mornings, but based on my experience, I kind of prefer writing in the morning because it's the first thing you do when you wake up as opposed to writing at night, which I kind of get the appeal of, but Regardless, today I'm gonna keep working on chapter 2, which I started working on yesterday, but I want to keep, like, chugging away at, I feel like. I'm nervous about getting to the parts with more flashbacks, because I know they probably need to be reworked and rearranged. Earlier this month, I wrote a ton of flashbacks, a lot of, like, brand new scenes that I hadn't really planned for, but I knew were semi-necessary. And, like, the places they're in the book right now are, like, they're probably not the best places for them in the long run, but I kind of just sporadically put them where I thought they might fit. So, like, regardless, I'm glad I've written them, because I know I need them, like, in order to provide more context for the audience. But yeah, I'm nervous about knowing that I have to rearrange them, because I don't know, it's nothing to be nervous about. What I'm nervous about is just, like, making sure they connect to the main story. Like, this is a weird comparison, but, like, last year, maybe, like, a year and a half ago, I watched Better Call Saul for the first time, and I really liked how they utilized flashbacks. I liked how, when they had flashbacks, they would usually start at the beginning of the episode, and then something that was related to the flashback would be very prevalent in the actual present-day episode. That's what I hope my flashbacks will look like eventually, but ultimately my biggest fear with this book and just writing this book is feeling like at any point that I'm wasting the reader's time. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like, whether it's with a flashback or a character or whatever, like, I don't want to feel like, I just feel like my reader's time is valuable, and if anyone is reading my stuff, I'm immensely grateful for that, and I don't want to waste anybody's time. It's just really important to me that what I am bringing to the table in this story is vital and important and necessary, and it's just hard to distinguish what is and isn't necessary in all of that, I guess. I'm also going to work on the short story, of course. Starting that short story has been interesting. There's a part of me that is really worried that, like, oh, if you're starting a brand new project, that means you're abandoning the book, which literally could not be further from the truth. If anything, I've been writing the book more since I've, like, had this short story idea. I don't know, it feels like it's something good to have. Like, a piece of writing advice I learned, like, a while ago was, like, you should definitely make time to write every single day, even if you're not working on the same project every single day, even if you're not even writing narrative, even if you're just writing in your journal, or you're writing poetry, or you're writing whatever. You need to make sure you're making time to write every single day. And I think that's really valuable, and I think I've been burnt out on this book, like, multiple times throughout the past year, over a year now, and, like, I think that having this other story to bounce to, if I am feeling like, oh my god, I can't look at the book right now, it's just too overwhelming, then like, that's a good thing, and it's something that I can see myself making this short story into something really cool and good and special. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm not abandoning the book, and I shouldn't convince myself that I'm abandoning the book. I'm just working on a project that ultimately will make me a stronger writer and will make the book stronger. I have more time this morning than I did the other day, so that's good. I'm probably going to have more time to work on both of them interchangeably, so that's exciting. And yeah, let's do it. Let's do it to them. Today is Sunday. Last night and this morning I got some writing done, so I just didn't film a lot either time besides some B-roll, but I got a lot done. Last night I spent a lot of time on the short story. Like I said before, it's kind of just like word vomit at this point, just trying to get all the specific points that I know that I want just on paper so I can, like, make it make sense later. There are parts in the middle, like, leading up to the climax that I need to, like, figure out, like, about one specific character. And, you know, for me, it's been, like, about figuring out, like, okay, how many obstacles, like, especially for a short story, like, how many obstacles should the main character, like, go through and deal with before it's excessive, because, like, I don't want it to be too complicated, but I also want it to be engaging and interesting, and it's not just, like, a piece of cake for this character to do this thing that they are trying to accomplish. So that's kind of where I've been at the moment. But again, I'm kind of just trying to like get the gist of it down. But I enjoy sitting down to do it. Writing last night was really fun, particularly because my boyfriend and I had just finished this movie on Hulu called Heartbeat Now, I think it's called. What?
Hearts Beat Loud.
Oh, Hearts Beat Loud. Thank you. But that movie was very cozy and like just slice of life and like not necessarily what my short story is about. My short story is definitely tonally a lot darker, but I don't know, there's just something about it that was inspiring. But it was inspiring. So last night was a short story. This morning I worked on the book some more, and I have some very exciting news. I hit 50,000 words, my 50K. It's always hard not to compare yourself to where you think you're supposed to be. My first draft, I suppose, of this book was at 25,000 words, and then I realized, oh no, that is not nearly as long as a novel is. A novel is like close to 60 to 100,000 words, and like for so long I've just been like pushing myself to make the word count longer because I'm just like, it's not long enough. But like 50,000 words is great. Like, I should be really proud of myself. I've done a very substantial amount of work on this project, and I am really proud of myself. I think that that's really exciting, and it's only going to get better from here. I'm so lucky and fortunate to finally feel like I'm in a rhythm with it again, and like I'm excited to sit down and write. For those first few weeks after I graduated college, and I was trying to work on the book and stuff, it really, I don't know, it's just been so long since I really tried to work on it, and it was just hard to find like a rhythm to it again. So it was really difficult, and like especially because I knew that it wasn't where I wanted it to be, and I didn't know how to get it to where I wanted it to be, and that was very stressful and difficult for me when you just, I think I've said this before, but like it's just stressful when you have a bunch of problems in front of you that you know you need to solve, but you don't know how. I feel like instead of every time I see something about the book that I don't like, instead of thinking like, okay, so this is a flaming dumpster fire that's never gonna get any better, I'm trying to like reframe that and be like, this can only get better. That's the only other option. It can't get worse. Like, there's so much more of this world for me to discover. There's so much more about my characters for me to discover. I don't know. It's good. It's a good feeling, like knowing that like the possibilities are endless. Like, I can take it wherever I want to, and I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but I'm really happy with where I'm at with this. I'm really happy with the short story. I hope that people will read that as well. And like the other thing about the short story is just like I really want to demonstrate my skills as a writer. And I have like a poetry account where I like post poetry and I write original poems, but I want to demonstrate my skills as like a narrative writer. I want to demonstrate my storytelling skills. And I think writing a short story, then that's how I do that. Anyway, I think that's everything I have for you today. I'm probably going to write a little bit more today, but probably not super late because I have to go to Cincinnati for work tomorrow, which is super exciting. I've never been there before. Yeah, I'm just going to write as much as I can before I leave for 3 days. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you hanging out with me this weekend. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.